Okay, so in case you have not checked out the health recommendations video, I just did a separate recording on that. And I felt the very clear nudge from Spirit to record, to like take down and share what I found is effective in getting my body vessel in alignment, like detoxing from the world, like what matters, what doesn't, what should be every day. Anyway, check out that video. I'll link it if I remember. Pray for me. Okay, and then the next thing is quantum intercession. Today is actually August 19th. Today is August 19th, which is full moon, blue moon, my moon. So yeah, that's why we're just doing audio on this one because, yeah. Okay, so back to the thing. I have quantum intercession is something that was shared with me. Must have been months ago. Just literally given this download, quantum intercession, and I actually did not know what that meant at the time. You'll see I even like went to all my Facebook friends. I'm like, what does this mean to you? Because that was kind of before I was activated into this new plane. So I really it's funny, the puzzle pieces were coming long before I had any clue what we were going to be doing with them. But anyway, it's so funny how I'm just rambling instead of quantum intercessing. So it makes me wonder if what I was intercessing, is that even the word? What I was praying about earlier is not the thing to do audibly right now. Okay, so we're just going to invite Spirit to lead and flow whatever the intention is through this Spirit. Especially, it doesn't matter when you hear this because these messages are timeless. Like, you better believe. I'm kind of getting like wink faces from the lineage, like up the line, being like, yeah, you think, not in a bad way, but like a yeah, you think, as in kind of like laughing because the mission has been in the lineage for I don't know how long, a very long time, I guess, is the point. So when I'm like, these messages are timeless, they're like laughing because, yeah. Okay, so keep it going. The energy is like heavy. My vessel is mooning too, so it's, and we've been going through so much significant shifts. It's like intense. And by the way, just talk between friends. Like, I also, on top of being activated into my divine purpose and picking up pieces of myself that I thought were like long gone. I didn't think they would ever be active in my life again. So anyway, there's a whole lot going on. And then also on top of that, I'm actively pursuing intense like therapeutic healing, emotionally and spiritually subsequently. And like huge inner child healing, huge like trauma healing, complex PTSD healing, like, and all of that coming to the surface as I go after it to release it. So there's a lot of dust that is kicked up while going through that process. I feel like we should somehow like create a form or like a meme that's like, hello to all of the people that are associated with me. This is a doctor's note from the universe letting you know that I am going through massive shifts of healing and change right now. While my divine identity is up-leveling and activating into places I literally could not have ever guessed. So please bear with me in case I exhibit the full range of emotions at any given time. No, I am not crazy. I asked my therapist. She says I'm right on time. Oh, Lord God Almighty. So yeah, so there's that. But you know, the crazy thing is it all serves a purpose. It all serves a purpose. It all serves a purpose, even when you're at the point where you're like, I don't fucking care anymore that it serves a purpose. I just want a freaking break, please. Like, you know what I'm saying? I was kind of having this moment where I was thinking about, okay, let me start from the beginning. So I met a guy, a young man named Elijah this weekend at a family reunion picnic. And I don't know who this kid was. And, you know, he's what culturally people would say like special needs of some sort. But he had these rainbow looking eyes. And I was like, I don't know. It was one of those moments where I'm like, I'm talking to an angel right now. And he told me his name. It was so cute. We were leaving for a birthday party, so he ran over. He said, "Did you say a birthday party?" And I was like, "Yes." And he was like, "Will you tell?" He doesn't know who I'm talking about or where I'm going, but he was like, "Will you tell them happy birthday from me? I'm Elijah." And then he was like, "I'm from that's a guy in the Bible." I was like, "Oh yeah, that's whirlwind Elijah." And we'll say together. Sorry, I'm having a little bit of a moment while I'm speaking, I'm seeing, hearing things. That makes me sound like a kook, but what I mean is spiritually I'm being shown like as a personal message. So I'm like downloading a personal message that I don't think it's not something I feel like I want to share while also trying to tell the story. Okay, so then sweet Elijah wants me to tell the birthday girl happy birthday. And we talk about how he's like a God. I was like, yeah, I said that was one of God's greatest guys, or something like that. And he was like, yeah, it's in the Bible. I was like, yeah, so you're one of God's greatest guys too. And then we pretty much ended the conversation and carried on. But those rainbow eyes, wow. Okay, rainbows. And then and then I was thinking about how that story, is it Elijah, the one that got so discouraged and just wanted to die already? He's like, man, he's freaking exhausted. He's literally fought every single, like everybody around him, from his perception at least. I don't know if this is actually the truth, but he felt like he was like the last one. Like everybody else had been taken out. Like so lonely on the mission. Like surrounded by people, but probably very few or none at all, like that had his gifting, had his specific mission, and also the courage and the revelation and the gumption to fucking keep it going, or to stay with him. Like he had such a unique gifting that, and such a unique identity. He's just like on this like this very specific track, so it's not even about whether people had good intentions or whether he was loved or not, or whether people liked him. Like none of that was even, it's not about that. It's just like he's on such a specific path that it's like there are just very few people that are going with him, at that part of the story, or that could keep up with him, or that had the grace to like keep it going like that and stuff like that. Anyway, so I don't know if that's significant to somebody, but the point is that there's still divine backup happening, even if you perceive that you're like the last of your kind in a space, or in your life or in whatever. And I'm still walking it out. And we're in Mercury retrograde, which means the appearance of things it gives the appearance of things going backwards or regression instead of progression. That's the whole thing of the retrograde. It gives like, well, I thought everything was moving forward in this like really great direction, and now it feels just like off, like maybe it's not. And it can totally, if you take the bait, it could totally lull you into a sense of hopelessness or lack of faith, because it's like, whoa, all of that momentum and like confidence I was feeling all of a sudden just doesn't feel, it feels like it's like a tide going out, Wow, 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 wow. Jamie, I feel like you're probably one of the only people I know of so far that like keeps up with all my videos, but like it's gonna be so fun that you do, because there's themes here. Themes. Remember the tidal wave analogy that I was given, first of all, in a vision several years ago. I'm talking like 2018 or 19. I didn't even live in this where I live now, but I lived in Arizona, in case, I don't know, I feel like that was nudged to share. So at that time I lived in Arizona, and then I was given this vision, and it was epic. But so then we were talking about the tsunami wave, where it leaves first, and it, just for those who are not up to date with the whole thing, in this scenario, the tidal wave that comes from like the tsunami is actually a good thing. Like, it was the living water coming in to like destroy any stronghold, any whatever misconception, barrier, blockage, freaking spell, like whatever. It's gonna take all that shit out. Like, this tidal wave, it's too powerful. It's like, it is, it is. So you can't argue with the power of a tidal wave. Like, you can't argue with the power of that ocean barreling inward, So it's like, that's the thing. Anyway, so Mercury retrograde definitely makes it feel, so it's kind of funny because I was being given that visual, like, yeah, Mercury retrograde is that period of time when all of the water is leaving, and you're like, wait. Like, what is going on? Like, and you're standing there like on, like, in the weirdest like sense of the weirdest sense of like awkward stillness, and how many people, like, especially I remember that first big tsunami that happened. I was in my younger 20s, so it had to be like, was it like 2000? Man, I can't remember the year. But the one that was like on Boxing Day, so like it was the day after Christmas, that's the one I'm thinking of. And people were like thinking it was so funny because there was no water on where there usually would be, and all these boats are like sitting on the ground because, like, on the sand instead of floating, because the water had gone out. And it was like, it was a rookie. Like, locals would know that that's a bad thing, but like tourists had no idea. They just like thought they didn't know what was going on. So anyway, we can flip all of that bad news into the good news. It's kind of funny because we have to convert it, but converting it into, those of us who are staying spiritually attuned can remember that this lull during Mercury retrograde is actually a false sense of hopelessness. And it's actually going to, the momentum is going to be not only still there as soon as we pop out of this, but also like probably built up momentum that we weren't aware of because of the disillusionment that comes with Mercury retrograde. Wow. Okay. So I had no idea that we were going to talk about that. So quantum intercession, like, I'm like, Spirit, are we going to do that? Or lead us in what quantum intercession you want us to share. And right now I speak a hedge of protection around every person under the sound of my voice and around myself. And I'm going to clear the energy. Maybe that's what we need to do here. I don't even know. Like, I'm not claiming that that's the for sure thing, but let me grab my tuning fork. Okay. Busarikata brodrokoko, shesarikate brodrokoko. Busirikate brodrokoko, yasirikate brodrokoko, yadede, besirikate brodrokoko. Dugu shesarikate brodrokoko, diakasarikata brodrokoko. Busha sarikata brodrokoko, yedede, besirikate brodrokoko. And also, let's just all agree. I don't know, this is one of those things that has been a question in my mind. Let's all just agree for the protection of the spirit language. And when I'm talking about all of us, but I'm just also talking about my own. There's been a question mark where I was like, would this, I'm not even going to share what the question mark was, but let's just all agree on the protection, the eternal protection of the spirit language. And we just agree with the it is so-ness of that. Okay. So quantum intercession, I was feeling the nudge just to, I just started interceding really in my kitchen as I'm making my breakfast drink. and then it occurred to me, I'm like, this should be something that we do collectively. And so anyway, we just ask the Spirit right now, what is the quantum intercession message that we can all, so the point of this, by the way, is that you take this message, you listen to it to the point where you understand it, and even if you don't fully understand it, but if you agree with the essence of it, you can say it out loud for you and your timeline and all of those that are associated with it. One of the things that I think is always a disclaimer, and that's been one of those question marks within me, that I guess the disclaimer will cover what's the word? The disclaimer will address it and meet the need of it, I guess. So the question mark is like when we're interceding, how much of intercession that we can obviously declare and decree over our life all day long because it's your timeline and you ought to. Also your children because they've been entrusted to you. And then I also would include like bonus children that have been entrusted to you in some form or fashion, even if you don't have time with them. You know what I'm saying? Like if they've become associated with you in a parental way, then, that counts. And then, but the question is, when interceding for other adults, like how much do we, I'm like, how much is it our right to do so without it becoming something where it's like infringing on their own free will kind of thing, which, that is like definitely not the jam, because if the Creator gave all of us free will, then who is anybody to take away somebody's free will? You know what I'm saying? So that's why it's such a big deal that I ask. So I guess our disclaimer is any quantum intercession that we do on the behalf of another is in alignment still with their universal rights, like as a created being by the Creator, not by me. And also that they ultimately it will always defer to their free will. So like that's kind of the disclaimer that we can say that addresses everything. But anyway, so that being said, we give thanks. We give thanks for clean water, for hot water, cold water, for clean air. We give thanks for freedom. And we give thanks for every protection that is being applied right now. Oh, okay. Got it. This is what we're talking about. Okay. We just say thank you, divine team, and we call in the fullness of the divine team to activate according to the timeline, according to what was written by the Creator in the highest timeline for the greatest good of humanity, for the greatest good of the advancement of love, of peace, shalom, nothing missing, nothing broken. Also, no stolen, not stolen, nothing stolen. No thieves remaining in power places. No thieves remaining in power places. We just say yes to the shifting of the guards, and that the highest that the highest form of integrity would rule and reign. Highest form of integrity would rule and reign. We say yes to our timelines aligning with we just say yes to our timelines aligning to the highest, most divine purposed identity. We agree to align in our timeline with the highest divine identity for the greatest good of the cosmos. We give thanks to the divine team for activating, that every single member of the divine team would activate into their position, into their divine identity according to the highest good of all the cosmos. And that's spiritually as well as like 3D folks. The words that came through my mind were like warriors, mission people, and whatever, and then I'm like folks because I didn't want to be dramatic with it of like, but anyway, but it is kind of dramatic because there's a tug of war going on right now. And it's important to realize that, like, I guess that's revelation number one. Okay, so we just invite revelation to every person under the sound of my voice. Divine revelation that would just, like, catch them up on what's really going on here, giving us all eyes to see what's really going on here when it comes to, like, their medical interventions and when it comes to their political interventions and when it comes to their claims of keeping us safe and claims of giving more when they're really just what's that called, siphoning out the wealth to a select few. Wow, it's incredible. It's incredible, actually. It's incredible to watch it all playing out right in front of us. And like so few can see all of the puzzle pieces illuminated. And listen, hey, yo, I don't want you to feel like this is not a shame thing or a guilt thing or a, look at those of us who can see it. Because it's not that. Like, trust me, it's not about one person being better than another because there are active strategies there are active strategies in place that are actively attempting to keep you distracted, steal your attention, make you believe the lies, like down to a subconscious level. That's why I do not listen to commercials. It's a weird thing, but it's like, obviously it's a spirit nudge thing. I do not listen to commercials on the radio. I don't listen to the radio at all, ever, for that reason, unless I have to. And if the commercial comes on, I mute it. I'm very aware of chaos now and like chaotic places where chaos rules the air as opposed to like peace ruling the air. Like there's something in that because in that chaos is where all of the damaging spirits reside. The pollution, we don't have to make this like spirit like ooh woo woo monster scary. It's not like that. It's just like that shit will it's either polluting or it's not polluting, and hopefully it's purifying. I literally just said this whole matrix. But yes, this whole place we live, this whole universe we live, it cuts down to computer code. You know what's wild? We're so concerned about how we're going to program AI and that AI is going to do, because we don't know we have yet figured out how to master our own selves. So why are we creating robots when we can't master our own selves? So it's like we are AI generation 1. We should probably be figuring out how to get a hold of our own selves before we start programming robots. Okay, that's a side note. But hey, by the way, I'm not against AI. I'm not even afraid of AI because humans are just the same. You know what I'm saying? except that humans have a soul that's okay, here's a quantum intercession right here. Let's just pray that every soul on this planet would receive some illumination to a point where it causes them to question the things that they think they know. But anyway, let it be so. Let that be the thing. But anyway, and we just ask for illumination about the polluting, the things that pollute the atmospheres that we reside in and that keep us in that lulled state of either misery, complacency, apathy. And this is another thing. Let's declare over our lives. We declare over our lives that whoever is meant to be in my life for this divine timeline that is now being activated, whoever is meant to be in my life during this time, that they will come. I invite my life to attract those people in, and they will stay. And the others that are not meant to stay on my timeline are swiftly removed. Thank you so much. Let it be so, without confusion, with clarity, and with divine confidence, knowing, so there's no questions here. And, that's one of those things I can just say that, I'm just so thankful that my life brings whoever's meant for me and removes whoever's not meant for me. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful about that. It just makes life so much easier, and it's incredible to watch how things and people just fall away. It doesn't have to be dramatic. Maybe sometimes it could be, but it doesn't have to be. And that's the whole thing, is when you hand it over to the divine and when you submit the order to the quantum field can just arrange it. You're submitting the order to the program, to the computer program. Once we find out that we're driving the program, once you find out that you can be the writer for your program, I don't think, and this is what's crazy, is that the universal of truth is that God is no respecter of persons. What that means is that every single person here is the writer of their own story. But what is the crazy thing and this is why when people are like, how could, and I'm one of them, by the way, don't get me wrong, how could God just let this all happen? Well, it's because he handed over dominion to us, which means we each get to drive our own life. But and then you perpetuate generations of disillusionment, of enslavement, of attacks. The way that they're attacking us isn't obvious. It's through the internet, it's through the TV, it's through the phones, it's through the frequencies, it's through the food that we eat. All of those things compiled up together is what keeps us all in fucking zombie mode. That's what people are right now. And the toxic religion. Yo, you guys, I'm not saying I don't love the creator, because how could I not? I do, I guess there are some people that don't, but I don't think that they have the full picture. But what I'm saying is when they tell you knowing the moon cycles is that it's bad, when my body literally aligns with the moon cycles, my body, who is also the oceans, this whole creation is in alignment with, and we read about it, that they used the stars and that God ministered to Abram through the stars. Come on, so how have we gotten to this point where we're giving this powerless story, being told all of these, getting to know your body is bad, why? We in the church, there's so little education about these power centers in our being that are real. Okay, so anyway, I'm very passionate about, do not demonize things and keep it from the children. Do not demonize things and keep it from the children, or you are equally as evil as any of those bad guys that you read about that couldn't see who Yeshua was. And by the way, I get it. Bad guys is just a very oversimplified, I'm just trying to get the point across. Either, we're all bad guys in a way, And it's really just boils down to ignorance. But then, you know what I found out? There are really people out here that that want that have chosen that. And by the way, I still think the prayer, like, forgive them for they know not what they do, I still think it applies, because if they knew, if they had revelation, they would choose the far better thing, right? Wouldn't they? But maybe they are so far, they've applied themselves to the wrong thing so far that they have a what is that word? Reprobate. There it is. Reprobate mind. So, anywho, those ones are not worth keeping around, for the record. Okay. Carrying on. We just say yes to the activation of the divine assignments of every person that's under the sound of my voice, according to the highest timeline for the highest good of the cosmos. We speak shalom, nothing missing, nothing broken, which means that you can now actively, confidently go and submit your order as you script. Thank you so much, divine team, that I now have this for, in alignment with my divine identity and my divine assignment. Like what your purpose, your divine purpose, whatever you need, just go order it up. Visualize it coming to be, visualize it so imagine that the activation process of getting the thing is to sit down and this is how you order it. You can write it and then you close your eyes and you literally order it. You bring it into, you imagine yourself receiving it, and don't think of it as this silly don't think about it as this fairy tale imagination, I'm just doing this to imagine it, no, and give it more purpose than that. Give the purpose there is that the purpose with it sorry, Mercury retrograde, it's even hard to flow. Okay, the purpose is, imagine that you're actively initiating the ordering. Imagine that you writing it down is step 1, and then step 2 is now you go and actually visually bring it to yourself from the ether, from the quantum field. And one of the most effective ways that Neville Goddard says to, or one of the most effective strategies that he had was having people that witnessing you receive it, or being there with you while you receive it, or congratulating you that you receive it, or celebrating with you, oh my gosh, look what happened, in a most amazing way. Look at your dreams came true. Oh my gosh. One of the things, you could imagine walking through, giving your best friends your tour of your new house that you've now purchased. And it's kind of a backdoor way of being this means that all of that stuff already happened because I had the money now to buy this house, and now I'm having my best friends come over and get to see it, and I'm watching my children run through through the yard. Look how I got it so on lock, I called it my yard. Running through my yard and things like that, so okay, so apply yourself to the activation of your divine identity by giving those thanks, and then doing that, while you're visualizing it being brought to you, and and watching the different couple scenes play out. You are also putting your eyes up to your eyebrows. Where does my help come from? It comes from the Lord. For those, and I say that, I hope I'm not triggering people who are not religious, but the reason, just huge disclaimer, those who I was brought up through a very specific narrative, and I believe that narrative has robbed a lot of people of activating their divinity and utilizing the full toolbox that we have available to us here on this 3D realm, timeline, plane, whatever. So, point being, I reference back to scripture references that I know will be comforting to those who are stepping out onto the water right now, and this feels like everything within them has been telling them that's evil, that's bad, it's not good for you. But it's really like all of those lies have been keeping them enslaved, and it fucking pisses me off. So I'm trying to pull the associations. I choose to pull those associations for the sake of the ones who deserve to have the revelation, and who have been sitting in the presence, quite frankly. Like, they're going to have the purest hearts. Wait. Sorry. Let me just make a really clear distinction. Not everybody has been sitting in the presence, but the ones that are going to be here under the sound of my voice are people who have been truly seekers, because you wouldn't get here unless you are a true seeker. And this is why he said, take up your cross, because he's like, those religious people are going to be willing to murk you over this, because those religious power players are not about the presence. They're about whatever they're about, something different, okay? So that's what I'm saying. Like, those people who are here under the sound of my voice, just regardless of how you label yourself, which you shouldn't, you're just a divine one and having this earthly one lifetime, by the way. It's like a whopping 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, whatever your years are, still is like it's like a tiny little sprinkle of the ocean of eternity that your soul actually is and knows. You know what I'm saying? So regardless of if you're like, I'm not religious, that shit triggers me. I'm like, yeah, I was religious and it triggers me too. Because slavery triggers everybody. But there's also these facets, these streams within that body that is not tainted or polluted by the power-hungry people that keep the toxic part going. But one of the big messages is I just want to make sure that we're all cool and clear with, if your body came with that in it, like, it's up to you to decide how you're going to steer this ship, whether you're going to use it for evil or for good. That's the point. That's the gist of it. But we all are steering, and we all can, no matter where you find yourself right now, there's a pathway out of it, and it's magic, okay? And when I say magic, I'm not talking about the hijacked foolery version that ruins things. I'm talking about the exceedingly abundantly far above anything you could ask, think, dream, or imagine, where there's miraculously, magically, I want to bring that word back to us. That's why I keep saying it, because the real spirit of life is the magician. Woo-wee! I want to write a song on that, and I'm going to. The real spirit of life is the magician and a musician. Wow, look at that. Okay, yep. And that's the thing, like, let's not forget, like every counterfeit thing that is used in replication of the greatness is like a counterfeit. And sometimes it seems effective, but it's not eternal, and it's not the realist. So it's like, if you're aligned with the realist, you need to pick up your wand and use your revelation in quantum intercession. And this is how we do it, is we just speak life, cut ties, break chains, like verbally, audibly. And then we go and write down whatever that vision is for ourselves. We write it down. And then, and it's not selfish, by the way. That's the other thing that religion will do, is they'll have you thinking, if you're following your divine timeline and you're not just like going and holding their sign in the parking lot on every Sunday, that you're somehow like off base. It's bizarre. Okay, anyway, keep going. Like, could you imagine if I didn't follow the timeline to get myself to where I am now, here, to be doing this, and instead, if I was just like in a parking lot holding a sign? There's nothing wrong with being the parking lot sign holder, but once you get the call and the tap on the shoulder that it's time for you to go do something else, then you better be going and doing something else. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, another thing that I always love to say is just to remind the divine team, like, I'm still in it. I can't tell you how many seasons of my life I'm like, I have no idea what's going on right now, but I'm still in this, just so you know that you have my yes still. Like, maybe my actions, I don't know if my actions are like making it look like you have my yes, but you do. Utilize the herbs, right? Utilize the herbs before you utilize man-made chemical things. And you know what's crazy is they've even altered a lot of herbs nowadays to make them man-made. So check that out. You know, check that out. That matters. So anyway, I think I'm going to wrap this up here. That was a fun throwback. Like, this is how my flows used to be, except now I'm in a completely different timeline, and the conversation has leveled up quite a bit. So it's fun to see the studying paying off into something. All right. Be blessed, be well, be free.